It's cool.
Take
Think
that,
about
flat
it.
earthers.
Flat
Flat,
galaxiers.
flat galaxiers.
What? That is officially a thing now.
I sound like I'm like about to say something like super important, and I'm just really just trying to
You have a
figure out.
question to ask.
Well, it's not really a question, but it's like I don't know if you know this, but I'm like really into aliens.
Uh-huh.
Like I just love to imagine, like, Fermi's paradox. It's actually something that I like to think about, like, basically every day. Like, I want to know what aliens look like, and if they exist. Like the so
I think that we can put that question to rest. Do they exist? Yes. Life outside of space as we
okay,
know it does exist.
okay, so
If it's intelligent, I don't know.
okay, I'm gonna ask you a
But
question.
it's super, just to
Yeah.
finish my thought, it's super selfish of us to think that we are alone.
Okay. Yeah, I agree, but thinking from going from that thought, I'm gonna ask you something that like is super cliche to ask. Well, you kind of just already answered it, but I'm gonna ask a different question that is not. I don't think many people ask, but I think it's like actually better to ask this way than the other way.
Ask.
So, in our Milky Way, do you think how many civilizations do you think exist? Average.
In the solar system?
No, in the galaxy.
In our galaxy?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
But do you think it's like
I think you can count them like that you can compare to Earth. But probably you can count them by one hand or two maximum, if there are any.
so you only think like
It's
about
it's it's scarce. I think it's scarce.
a
I really
dozen?
do.
Okay.
I really do think it's scarce because to think about the size of the universe and to think that that we could be alone, it's selfish, yes. But I think it's also very um I don't want to
Unlikely?
say prideful,
Mhm.
but yeah, to think that a civilization would last forever. I mean, just look at us. We've been here for,
Mhm.
comparing to the scale of the universe, like a second, and we've already managed to probably damage our planet beyond repair.
Yeah, that's actually a thing that people don't really I don't think people realize cuz I see a lot of videos and people just talking about like aliens and why haven't they like visited us yet? And it's like whenever I hear those people talking, I'm always thinking like these people they have no idea how freaking gigantic space is. Like for I mean, we have been able to basically trace what, like 20% of our galaxy? Like we know like a bunch of stars and what they are,
I
how
think
many
we know more about space than we do about the
the
what's in
oceans.
the ocean,
Yeah,
yeah, in the bottom of
exactly.
the ocean.
Exactly. And it's like we know all this stuff, but we've only been able to send machines like barely outside the rim of our own solar system. Like we haven't even been able to reach another star yet. And we already know so many things about our galaxy and and we are constantly like discovering new things. And so I think if we imagine
I'm
that there are aliens that are advanced enough to have our knowledge, they would not even be able to reach other stars the same way that we can't. So how the hell would they
but
be able to contact us?
I'm not even going there. I'm thinking if there is an alien civilization and they're even if they're a bit more advanced than us, consider that they have interstellar access to interstellar travel. Why would they visit us? I mean, if not for total annihilation,
Yeah, that's also
because
another.
our planet is rich in resources and we aren't really taking good care of it. And if we think that the only way to survive in a galaxy that is hostile, where other civilizations are more advanced than us, why would they want to cooperate and not take our resources?
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, Carl Sagan had I would say, very optimistic view on aliens. I think he was really hopeful that aliens would actually like, if they would contact us, they would actually like help us figure ourselves out. Um,
Yeah, that would be cool, of course.
but I honestly, I think that is.
I think it's but a civilization that would have that kind of thought would probably leave us to our own devices until we can actually leave our planet.
Yeah, I mean, for a civilization to be that selfless, I mean, it's hard. It's just, I think it's very unlikely that that will happen. Because, I mean, there's no. If a civilization is advanced enough to, like, visit other star systems, they wouldn't really have any, like, any reason to help us at all. Like, we're just in the way, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Um,
sad to think
hmm
that, but I
In my.
also can't
Yeah.
think of it any other way.
In my opinion, I don't think that. I think the most likely scenario for us to like come across life that's more intelligent than us is probably the same way that. I wouldn't say the same way that Europeans conquered like America. I wouldn't say like I think that's also too pessimistic. I would think the most likely scenario is that basically just aliens would just, you know, see us and then would see, oh, these guys are fucking assholes and just would ignore us, basically. Try to like forget about us. That's basically what I think. Like they would just see, okay, these humans they're dumb and they won't help us at all. So
Yeah, based on what we do to other species, I mean,
and to ourselves.
and to ourselves, yeah, what would they think of us?
They probably think we're assholes.
And they would be justified in that.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember like Neil deGrasse Tyson actually said that one of the solutions that he thought was more likely for Fermi paradox was that aliens did not visit us because they saw, like they actually came across Earth and they saw what humans are, and they came to the conclusion that there is no intelligent life in this planet.
Yeah, likely. That's also a possibility for
hmm
sure. I mean, we appear to be intelligent, but if we really were, I mean, would we be doing what we are doing?
Yeah, I think intelligence is kind of like you could define it as being able to build devices that can do like calculations and stuff. Like I guess that could be a good like
Intelligence, as defined
by
by
us.
tabletops, is like the ability to recall things,
Well,
to
but
memorize them, and to remember them.
yeah, but I
Um,
think I'm not sure if monkeys have that. Probably they do, right?
they do, of course, they do. Like
So I
octopuses
guess
do. Like they
yeah,
can solve puzzles and
yeah.
stuff like that.
So like
I've seen this before. I know what to do in this scenario.
yeah, exactly. Memory, I guess I wouldn't consider it like when we say intelligent life, we mean like life that has like a
Well,
language
I
and
think more interesting um than being intelligent is like being, self-aware.
yeah,
Because like we were mentioning, there's a lot of animals that are smart, but are they really like aware of
do they
what
do they have like a
do they
conscience?
yeah
Do they
do
have
they
a
they know that they can fly, but do they understand why? Do they
yeah
know why they have to fly south
yeah
every couple of months? And
yeah do they have basically an identity?
yeah, like I
Mm-hmm.
am this thing.
Yeah, that's a good question because we can't know that for sure because we know that animals communicate like between them and they have some kind of language, but it's not complex enough for us to really tell if they have an individuality or
It's not like they say specific words. It's like it's the
yeah
the
they don't
tone and
mm-hmm.
the sound that they make.
Yeah, I guess I think dolphins actually like give names to each other. Like, they actually have like specific sounds that
Mm-hmm.
are like names to
But dolphins are really, really smart.
super smart. Yeah, I think they're like one of the smartest species like
I think
on
it's
Earth.
in Douglas Adams' series, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in one of those books, I think it's actually The Hitchhiker's, they mention that dolphins are like the Earth, the humans, Earthlings, are the third most intelligent species in the planet, and the second one are dolphins. Before the events of the Hitchhikers, which is that this alien species is building a highway through Earth and they need to make space, and
Mm-hmm.
Earth is in the way, so they're going to demolish Earth.
Yeah.
It's funny because the main character is actually fighting against local government because they're building a highway through his house, and of
Oh.
course he doesn't want to his house demolished, but nobody cares.
Wow. Okay.
And
That's
so at the same time, someone is building a highway through Earth, and they're going to demolish Earth. And
interesting.
they they say that they put up the plans for it like years ago, like decades ago, but
Wow.
we had no way of seeing them because they were on another planet.
Mm-hmm.
So they blame us for not following protocol, and they don't care about our pleas. So they're just going to destroy it.
I really want to like watch
And
or read that Hitchhiker's Guide to
the
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 Galaxy.
book is really good, and the movie follows loosely the plot, but at the same time it borrows elements from other books.
Isn't that movie where the joke about 42 being the meaning of life came from?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a joke. Again, this goes to the point. Dolphins before they knew that this was coming, and so all dolphins in the planet disappear at the same time.
Oh.
And their last
Wow.
message to the Earthlings is a series of vocalizations that roughly translates to "So long and thanks for all the fish."
Where did they go though?
To their planet.
Wait, the dolphins have a planet?
Well, I guess.
They're aliens?
Yeah, I guess.
Holy crap. Okay, that's
Do you know Lobo from DC Comics? The only thing he
yeah.
loves in the universe is space dolphins, and he does whatever he can to protect them. And actually, in Rebirth, after working with Batman kind of makes a promise to him that you only get to find out what it is later on when Lobo and Black Canary have to work together.
Mm.
Because Canary is like, I think she kind of followed him because he wanted to go solo, and Lobo says that it's a promise that Batman made to him, and he gave him the home planet of those space dolphins, and they were being like
Okay.
enslaved by a Xarian, which is someone from Lobo's race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird.
And first, to kind of spoil you, but the most intelligent species on the planet is actually mice, lab mice.
Okay.
While we are testing on them, they are testing on us because
Jesus, what?
they are the original ones that built the machine to figure out the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And the
Mm-hmm.
answer is 42. But they never asked what the question is. And to figure out what the question is, they built this super complex computer that would evolve a species that contains the question inside of their brains.
Oh.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
Whoa, that's meta as fuck.
Yeah.
Holy crap, so they basically invented humans to understand what the question was. They had the
Mm-hmm.
answer, but they needed the question
Yeah.
to understand because
Yes.
the
The
answer
question itself, the answer itself makes no sense
the answer doesn't mean anything if
without
there's
the question.
yeah, exactly. Wow, that's deep. That's
Yeah.
deep. I always like wonder to myself like what do other civilizations actually look like? Do they have like this kind of same social structure that we have? Do they have a completely different one? Do they have capitalism? Do they deal with poverty and
I
Trump?
don't, I don't, I don't want to sound preachy,
Mm-hmm.
but if you take a look, this could be also because it simplifies things. I understand, but if you take a look at most science fiction, um, you always see that interspace travel is achieved by one single culture or race from a planet.
Which is usually
It's
humans.
usually no. I'm not saying humans, even aliens. Like for example,
Yeah.
the Vulcans. It's always the Vulcans. They always have the same culture.
Mm-hmm.
They always have. It's always the same, even though they probably have variants in themselves. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they always unite under a purpose. It's
Okay.
always this entire planet is working towards one goal,
Mm-hmm.
and this is interspace travel, or to get out of this planet because we are fucking wrecking it.
Okay.
Um, and again, I don't want to sound preachy, but I don't think we can achieve this kind of level or
Type
uh, yeah,
of
if you
being
want to
able
go by
to.
civilization type,
Mm-hmm.
I understand you. But yeah, it needs to be a very large collective effort
I agree.
that cannot be achieved by any other means.
Okay, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like, I think that for a
Imagine
civilization.
if NASA and ESA and all of these space agencies just
Mm-hmm.
united their resources under one banner.
Yeah.
I understand that there needs to be competition for capitalism to work, but it's unreal to think that we will ever achieve a level of
Competence.
expensive power
Yeah.
or yeah, also competence, yeah, while we are working like this.
Yeah, I think that for a civilization to be able to actually like explore other stars, it has to still like do a lot of work to have like an entire, because it has to be the entire world basically. It has to be a global effort. It can't really be like to go to another moon. I guess it's not that, like, America did it kind of like all by themselves, even though they use like things from the Russian government, but that's like, you know um, basically, if it's like the moon, which is like a very close nearby object, it's not that hard for one country to do it. But if it's like another star, I think it's basically impossible for one country, or if it's not like a global community to do that, I don't think it's possible at all.
Yeah, even if you go and colonize another planet,
Even,
like
yeah, even then.
just leave them to their own devices. I mean, they're independent now. That's what's gonna happen.
Okay,
If you go there and try to mine for resources, they will eventually will understand that. But what are we doing here? This could just be ours, and we could have a fresh start.
okay. This is a good like transition to another thing I want to talk about, and that's people are trying to go to Mars, and I kind of want.
Nothing wrong with that. But again, it will turn it into an independent colony. We
But
could be
actually,
again, we could also be working for the same goals. Do I think it's possible in my lifetime? Probably not.
but do you think? No, I'm not actually asking if it's possible. I'm more asking like, do you think it's actually even worth it to go there?
Yeah, for sure.
You really think so?
I mean, yes. Why not? We are
Because
we are wrecking our planet. Mars is not. I think it's not inside of the Goldilocks zone.
it is
Uh,
kinda.
well, if it is, well,
Well, it's
the sun
it's
is
it's
a bit farther. It's a bit colder,
it's
but
on the
with
it's
a bit
on.
of terraforming, it already had water.
Yeah,
Uh,
but okay, okay. But here's the thing. Um, yeah, Mars is kind of like on the edge of the Goldilocks zone. Basically, it's like it's just not cold enough to have some liquid water. I mean, right now it's kind of,
you
it's
mean
too.
hot enough?
I'm saying it's not cold, and yeah, it's not cold enough to not have.
It's not hot enough to have.
I know, but what I'm saying is it doesn't need it only is not, it's just not hot enough because it doesn't have like a good enough
Atmosphere.
atmosphere. So like
Yeah.
the heat basically just escapes very easily. So
Yes.
it only needs an atmosphere to be able to almost be kind of similar to Earth, but just a little
And
colder.
gravity is a bit
And gravity
um,
yeah,
lower.
it's less gravity. But the thing is, if we can terraform Mars, why don't we just terraform Earth? Like, if the logic is we go to Mars to have like two planets instead of one, or to kind of like save our planet from getting, fucked. Like, why don't we just do that to our
Because
own planet?
this is already too hot. That's the problem.
What do you mean it's already too hot?
You can. I don't think the problem is not to get the planet hot. Is to get the planet colder.
But isn't that basically as hard as getting it hotter, though?
No,
Is it not? I mean,
clearly not.
no, but I'm saying that that's because we have like factories and shit that is like adding emissions
Yeah,
to.
but I don't think we can actually just go out in the atmosphere and put ozone everywhere. Since we're wrecking its layer, you can just cover the atmosphere with ozone. because first of all, ozone is toxic to us.
I know,
Uh,
but if we go to Mars, we have to build an entire atmosphere that if we can't do that on Earth,
you
then
just need to release carbon dioxide in
but
the
what about
atmosphere.
oxygen? Where are we gonna get the oxygen?
That's where plants come into play.
Plants need oxygen to be created. Like you can't just they don't just live by off of carbon.
Well, certain type of plants require less oxygen than others,
Yeah,
obviously,
but there's no
and
oxygen on Mars,
especially
basically.
if you have like algae who do not require oxygen at all. They require water and sun power.
But how do you get water without oxygen? Or even just how do you get water? Like you
You
would
do
need
already have water in Mars.
it's
The planet just needs to get hot.
the water is like nothing. Do you see my point? It's basically like you would need to get a bunch of ice and water.
There is already ice on Mars.
It's it's the equivalent,
Mars has ice caps.
but it's the equivalent of our ice caps, which are like tiny things now. And basically, that ice is only superficial. Like it's not. It doesn't have like, as far as I know, it doesn't have like a massive like depth like ours do, sort of. And they're dying. So
Probably enough. I actually don't know the size of Mars ice caps.
maybe enough for us to like make a tiny like oasis, I guess, but not like the entire planet, I don't think. And the problem is like we would need to basically create a dome with a
And who's to say there's no water underground?
I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, again, we don't know. We don't know. Like we're I
Because
think
rivers flew here once.
I know, but like rivers also flew in the Sahara Desert and it's
Yeah.
completely dry. And it's basically my thing is I think that going to Mars is like
But there's other suitable planets on this solar system.
I don't know. I mean,
There's Titan in
Titan is
uh
much farther away.
yeah, in
And
Jupiter.
it's like Titan is basically I think it's as cold as I mean I'm not entirely sure if the tidal forces I mean they are different. I'm not sure if what's the temperature of Titan?
No idea, but it must be cold as heck.
Very cold. Oh Jesus. Okay.
But it could sustain life.
I
And
mean,
that,
but again,
like,
like what I'm saying is like I think it's very hard to terraform planets if you don't have like a bunch of oxygen and carbon dioxide like that you can just inject into the atmosphere basically. And we don't have that. Like if where will we get all the water that we need? Because the ice caps are not enough. They're enough for what I'm saying, like basically an oasis or something like that, but not the entire planet. It's just and we need to create an ozone. Otherwise, the water vapor is probably gonna just stay on the atmosphere and not like rain. Probably. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I think you need for there to be a water cycle. You need to have like a very specific contained atmosphere that doesn't like things don't like escape.
I think that's probably one of the biggest criticisms of Mars terraforming. But then
Hmm.
again, you don't know how far along science will evolve. I mean, things are being
Yeah,
developed exponentially, and
I know, but if we compare going to Mars to going to the moon, we went to the moon like I mean America went to the moon like what 5 times, and it was
that's what
during
they say.
that's what they say, and it was like during the Cold War, like they had
I have
basically
more. I have more technology on the palm of my hand right now than they did when they went to the moon.
I know, but I think that kind of tells us something because they were going to the moon basically as a distraction from the war, like to avoid. Basically, they were building this like technology of rockets, which they were not made for space travel. They were made for something else way worse. So basically, the scientists decided, okay, let's use this for space travel because it's the best we can do right now, other than killing each other and creating a world apocalypse. Let's just try to go to the moon. Let's see who gets to the moon first. That was a distraction. But right now, I think the political stance that we have in our world is not enough to. There's not enough like tension for there to be a reason to go to Mars, and there's not enough. We're not relaxed enough for it to be a global effort. So it's like we're kind of like in a very awkward position right now to be doing this. Is what I'm thinking.
That's a
Like,
really good point.
I mean, we can go. I'm not saying we can't go to Mars. We can, but is it like worth
Worth it.
it? Yeah, that's my question. It's just
Oh, yeah, back in the Cold War was just flexing power. Whoever
yeah.
gets there first gets bragging rights.
And you have no idea like the difference between the distance to our moon versus the distance to Mars is like first of all Mars is another orbit. So the distance is not static and it fluctuates immensely. So basically you have to if you go to Mars, you have to stay there for an entire Martian year basically. And it's not like going to the moon because when when we went to the moon, it was like what? It wasn't even a day. It was like, or was it a day? I'm not entirely sure how long, but it was like at most a couple days that anyone stayed there, like, and they had basically they didn't need like much food or water because they were only staying like there for not a long time. But going to Mars, you would need like so much to stay for an entire Martian year, which I think is a lot longer than a Earth year. You would need like a lot of food for each person and water and where would you put all the poop?
Fertilizer.
You would just leave it like make a use it to grow plants. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess um and then there's the
There's
problem
really
of
no.
the yeah, and then there's the problem of the oxygen. That's the most important thing and you would need to carry like a bunch of oxygen. It's just I think it's like we can go there for like um an expedition, kind of like what people did with Antarctica. But how many people are living in Antarctica? There's like what, 5 people living in Antarctica, or like like dozens maybe, and they're all scientists, and they probably don't stay there for like a year. They just
No, they do stay for some time. Yeah.
okay, maybe they do stay for some time, but it's like it's not like going to Antarctica and living there. I think it's a good reference to what Mars will be, except way more extreme. Because there's no oxygen again.
For now there's no oxygen. The argument is to terraform it.
Yeah, but to terraform it, you would need to go there, and you need to waste a bunch of oxygen just for the people who would go there, and
Agreed, but when there's a will, there's a way.
maybe.
It's not that they're going to be carrying canisters of oxygen, sure, but somebody's got to do it, and it can be me.
In my opinion, I don't think it will ever be like actually legit colonized. I think it's just gonna be like Antarctica again. Like there's gonna be like outposts, and people
No.
can like go
I
there
think
to
there
make.
will be eventually there will be an effort to terraform it.
But like tourism, who would want to stay for an entire year? I don't
Why
think.
not?
And not to mention that basically you would be like you would have a gigantic delay like with communication.
But you get used to it.
You get used to it. Like it's it's like living in some African country. I did see some models that people made of the Martian calendar. I think it didn't have like the same number of months as the Earth calendar did. It definitely didn't have the same amount of days. It was interesting because there's 2 moons in Phobos and Deimos, and and they don't have the same like influence on the planet as our moon has to our planet. Um, so basically, with the relationship between moons and sun is very different, and so you have like a different calendar and a different basically you have a different horoscope, I guess. And I don't know, it's just interesting. Like it's I don't think anyone's gonna
Yeah, that
use
would be
that,
interesting.
but it is an interesting idea of like having like if you were born on Mars, you would have like you could have like influence of Earth in your horoscope instead of influence of Mars, you know. And depending on where Phobos and Deimos were in the sky, you have different. Damn, that would be weird.
Constellations, yeah, they will probably change.
No, constellations wouldn't change much.
And not to mention, just the first people going in Mars, they would not be surrounded by all this light pollution, and they could probably see the stars much better than we do.
That is
You
true.
know, I would love to see the Milky Way, one day.
Without, yeah, because basically the best telescopes that we have are in outer space because there's no atmosphere, no light pollution.
Hmm.
But if you could go, because these these telescopes, they're not manned. They only like they take pictures, then they send them back to Earth. But to actually like see with your own eyes,
Must be beautiful.
yeah, that's true. Because I think not even the guys that were in the moon, because I mean they were still like in the daylight, so they couldn't really see the stars at 100% darkness, as far as I know. Perhaps the only exception was the guys that, or maybe I'm not entirely sure. Like if I know Apollo 11, they, there was a guy that was left in the little shuttle that would, reconnect with escape pod. No, what is the little thing called, where the astronauts, like, they landed on the moon and then got shot back out. What's that like? Is it a shuttle? Is it like a
Yeah, something like that.
cockpit
No,
maybe? I don't know.
no. Oh yeah,
Cockpit.
call it a shuttle.
Yeah, okay. But
Like
that
a
thing,
small
like, yeah,
capsule.
it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is like the little the little rocket that was going to reconnect with that little shuttle and then would go back to Earth. They had to have like a guy there, obviously. And when he did basically an orbit around the moon, he actually like lost all communications when he was like on the fourth side of the moon because the moon was blocking everything. And I guess at that moment, or in those few hours when he was like completely disconnected from the entire humanity, I guess he might have been able to look outside the.
But you don't have to go to outer space to actually see the Milky Way, You can
Yeah,
still see it from Earth.
I
Just
know.
in
I mean,
places without
of
with
course.
enough darkness to still see
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, I remember that
That would be beautiful to see it actually.
in in the Azorian Islands, in Pico Island, where I spent many summer vacations there. There's actually some places in the island where basically the night sky is perfect, like it has no pollution. Like basically, other than the little pollution from like the cities at the shores, if you like go up, like if you basically climb the mountain, like from the top of the mountain, there's absolutely zero like light pollution, and you can just see everything like clearly. It's if you get like a clear sky, you can see the Milky Way pretty freaking
You
well.
mean in the islands?
In the mountain, yeah, in Pico
Mm.
specifically. The
Yeah,
other islands are kind of like they're not big enough for there to not be light
but it
pollution.
must be cold as hell up there. It's the
Um,
highest point in our country.
it is cold. Depends on the time of year, I guess. If you go in the summer, it's not that cold.
But do you get to see this light show in its full glory?
Yeah, if you get to not have any clouds in the sky, which isn't very often, but if you can actually
Yeah,
see the entire like the
yeah, that's really really cool.
it's amazing, yeah. It's
I would love to.
been a while since I've actually seen a perfect uh dark night sky.
It's that and Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, those two things are just
Would love to see one
yeah.
of the two.
Yeah, it's sad that most people don't really get to experience those two things. I mean, auroras are kind of rare, but like the Milky Way, like I think people should be able to like at any point like unfortunately it's just light pollution, because humans are afraid of the dark, I guess.
Yeah, we are.
Most of them. And they're like,
Figuratively and literally.
yeah, that's true. Like we're just like we don't like for some reason
Not knowing.
we're a species that doesn't like to have like dark places. For example, I remember that in our house in Pico Island, we actually like our house is kind of like far away from the little village where we live, and
Hmm.
um and it's like you have to kind of like go up go up a little path of dirt, and they actually they asphalted it, if that's how you say it. They covered it with asphalt, so they didn't like.
Hmm.
So it's basically now it's a road, kind of. And I remember that my mom was actually really angry that they were like putting lights. They were actually like putting illumination on this road because she wanted to have no light pollution basically, and this was giving some light pollution. Like there's a lamp that shines like directly, like you can see like the light from inside of the house, and it's a shame because it was perfect because like our house was basically in a place where there was no light at night. It was completely like dark, and
Yeah, that would be cool.
it was
I
really
had the other
interesting.
way around actually. My dad designed the house, my childhood house,
Mhm.
and he put this big ass window facing east where the sun would rise, and it's
Oh.
facing my bedroom and my sister's bedroom.
Mhm.
And so for years, during sunrises, I would get to see the sunrise, like right in my face. But now they built a house that covers that window.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah.
It's really sad.
Mhm. Yeah, but there's
Oh
some
well,
places still like
it
I
lasted for a
yeah.
very long time.
Yeah, but in Pico there was actually like some places that I still like. I still go like when I go there because I haven't gone there in some years actually, in like 3 years or something, because I just kind of I'm not in a very good mood to go to an island right now. So but yeah, but when I went there, I basically there was I did a lot of just walking with my brother, and sometimes at night, and it's just a very like strange, like very like mysterious and just almost like magical experience to walk on like a road with just a little flashlight, and everything around you is completely pitch black, and you just hear like the rustling of the leaves under your feet, like and then you go like you rise up to this little mount, and you turn off your flashlight and you look up and you just see this incredible like display of stars and clouds sometimes, and it's just yeah.
Color me jelly.
You should go there sometime. We should go there sometime. Is there like a funny story about?
Yeah, I do have a funny story. Do you have you played Spore?
I didn't play, but I really, as a kid, I just wanted to play it so freaking hard.
Okay, here's the thing about Spore. You start in the cell
Mm-hmm.
thing, as you know, in the
Yeah.
cell stage, and then you advance all the way to the galactic stage.
Yeah.
And no matter which path you follow, you will always find this alien race called the Groks, which live in the center of the galaxy and they control all the planets around the core of the galaxy.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
they want no one going there at all. They are aggressive and hostile against everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, for some reason, of course, they protect the core of the galaxy, and knowing me and knowing everyone, you want to go there. You want to go to the center of the galaxy.
Yeah. It's
When
like.
you get there, you find that it's a wormhole, basically a wormhole like you found
Mm-hmm.
across the galaxy that would take you from one point to the other.
Yeah.
But this one is different. When you go through this wormhole, you start hearing this deep voice congratulating you on all on your journey. You've started as a single cell organism, and now you travel between stars, and isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
And you found the center of the galaxy where the secret is hidden, and you think you're talking to God, and suddenly you find out Steve, the UFO from SimCity, is at the center of the galaxy,
What?
and he gives you this tool, which is called the Staff of Life, and it holds 42 charges. And
Uh,
what this stuff basically does is when you click a planet, it will instantly terraform it to level 3 with all fauna and flora filled.
okay.
And he kind of asks you to go and find out Earth. Like, there's this solar system called Sol system, which has Sol, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars,
Mm-hmm.
and all the planets. I don't think it has Pluto, actually.
Ooh.
But
Boo.
yeah. And you can go there and you terraform it to level 3 instantaneously with the Staff of Life.
So wait,
Given
so
to you
it
by
is
God.
so it is our like
It's our galaxy, yes.
wow, okay.
Confirmed to be our galaxy.
Damn, that's what a revelation. I didn't know that actually. Like
Yeah. I can,
yeah.
to this day, I can still tell you where it is located. I know the exact arm of the galaxy where it is located. If I play Spore again.
It's Orion's arm, right?
It's, I don't know, but the arm has a tail.
Has a tail?
A tail, a tail. You always know which one it is because it's different from the other ones.
Oh, okay.
It's like slashed. It has like
Okay.
a thing coming out of it.
Yeah. I find it fascinating how our galaxy like is constantly getting like remodeled every time that we learn new things about it. For example, we thought for a long time we thought that our galaxy was like flat, but we actually recently discovered that our galaxy is actually warped. It has like a it's like it has like these wave like a cowboy's hat kind of almost like it just kind of follows this
What?
wave. Yeah, it doesn't like
It bends? Is
it
that what you mean?
yeah, it bends.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
I did
really
not know
interesting.
that.
It's like it's only at the edges, like you have one edge basically. One side of the galaxy is like slightly bent upwards, the other side is slightly bent downwards. There's a couple of galaxies that we have observed in the sky that actually are similar to this. It's actually really beautiful to see like this because it's less boring. I think flat galaxies are kind of boring, honestly. But
That is, today I learned.
yeah,
Still trying to find out a photo, but I can't find it. It's cool.
but yeah, I actually I keep I'm gonna use this opportunity to actually kind of like share a channel that I really enjoy. That basically I've been a fan of him for a while now actually. His name is Anton. The channel is it's Anton Petrov, and his videos are so cool because he just basically he posts a video like every day basically, um, and I swear every single video that he posts, I learn a new thing. It's amazing. Like he just constantly puts out new information about stars, planets, galaxies, physics, so many different things, and I just learn a new thing every single day. It's so cool. I love his channel.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like a wonderful person.